Good morning and welcome to IshfackYou. I'm Esan Ishfack and today we're going to be discussing a whole host of issues affecting students in Dublin. We have some great guests lined up for you to hold on to your wigs. First up, we have Suzanne Stapleton and Shane Morgan with us today to give their hot takes on student politics in the online world. Before we begin, we asked some students in the IT industry their own views on the matter. Here's what they had to say.
How do you feel about student politics online?
I think it is kind of like a popularity contest on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram with things. I think like students can be misled a lot because they go with the people who they find likable or whatever, but then sometimes they don't go with people with the right policies or ideas.
And do you think that political correctness has gone too far on Twitter?
I think in some ways it has, and people do get called out a lot from people overreacting. Like an example would be the recent H&M campaign that got slated, but I think it's not for me to say, but I feel like people would get offended to that and then others would not. Do you know what I mean? I think it's down to your personal self. Sometimes people are very sensitive, but it's good to talk about our feelings.
How do you feel about the student politics online?
Oh, I haven't got a clue about student politics, really.
Yeah,
I don't really know, to be honest.
Suzanne and Shane,
What's up?
thank you for being with us here today.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, go on.
A lot of our generation's political activity seems to take place online. Is that a positive thing?
Well, in my opinion, no. Like, sites like Twitter were set up, and they're, in theory, they're great, but in reality, we all decide what we see there. Like, we decide what political opinions we see, we decide whose voices we are going to listen to. We basically just put ourselves into these filter bubbles of our own personal opinions and views, and it's not like we're trying to engage with other people online. We're just trying to basically shout that I'm correct. Like, this is the view and I have it and it's right, so you should listen to me because I'm the best.
I think it can foster like slacktivism and such, where if all of your political action takes place online, then I think we've seen a lot to suggest that that's not necessarily conducive to progress offline and in the real world. And I think that if it becomes just enough to portray a sympathetic opinion or to sort of virtue signal online and not get out and campaign for what you want or go to polling stations, then we're definitely in trouble.
Like, you can kind of see it happening with things like the marriage equality campaign, because a lot of that did take place online, and it was it was very much targeted at like the young audience, millennials, Gen Z. Like, it was targeted at young people, and they really made great use of their online resources. Like, it was incredible, and people came out.
Repeal the 8th as well.
Yeah,
very similar.
But what happens between those times? Because people just want to win. Like, people aren't willing to engage with day-to-day politics. They just want to have like their kind of big success story, and then they pack up their banners and they go home. And they'll say like, "Oh, I was there today. Yeah, like I voted yes." And next week there could be a local election. Who they're putting in, who they're putting in the door. Who's their TD going to be?
It's a very specific sort of politics that you see online. It's very much socio-cultural issues. Sure. It's like the next all-female remake of whatever. But I think there's less of an engagement with formal party politics or localized government or socioeconomic issues. There's like a very specific agenda in the sort of filter bubble of Twitter. Yeah. So.
Well, thanks for being with us today, guys. Really appreciate your time.
No worries.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, fun.
Is Twitter an adequate platform for balanced discussion, or has it maybe led to a disengagement with formal party politics?
Do you use any dating apps?
Dating apps? No, I've
On a
used
more
Tinder
lighthearted
before.
note,
But I've got a
our next
girlfriend now,
topic
so
is student
happy to do
dating. What does modern love look like? What does modern love look like? Here's what the students of DIT had to say.
Do you use any dating apps?
Dating apps? No, I've used Tinder before, but I've got a girlfriend now, so can't be doing that.
Do you happen to use any dating apps?
Wow, okay, yeah, I use
Okay.
Tinder sometimes, not
Okay,
very
so-
often.
Well, what's your experience with that like?
Well, I'm not a very good texter. I get on better with people face to face, so I do prefer face to face meetups. But it's fine. It's a way to meet people.
No, I don't use much the dating apps. I know some of them, like I know the name, but I don't use them.
Do you happen to use any dating apps?
I do use a dating app. It's called Grindr, and I'm not going to say any more about it.
We have Zach Wenstein with us to talk about navigating the messy, murky waters of Tinder and coppers. Zach, thank you for being with us today.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty well.
So, dating. Do you use Tinder or any other app, or are you a bit more old school?
I like to switch it up, you know. I like to go on Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
One of my buddies told me to go on this app called Grindr, and I went on that, and all I just got was pictures of dicks.
Oh,
So I think he was making fun of me.
sad to hear about that. So, no action with girls?
I've been going to Coppers. See, I'm over here on Erasmus from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I went to Coppers. That's pretty good. A lot of easy women over there, you know.
Yeah, and how would you find the Irish woman?
I think they're pretty easy. Like, people say they're, like, very reserved, but I got with some wild chicks, you know, in Coppers.
Nice. And is that your favorite place to hang out in?
I would say so, yeah. I went down to this place called Dicey's.
Mhm.
I know a lot of foreigners there, though, so if you're into that thing.
Right. What's your ideal date or a girl that you would like to meet from Tinder?
An easy white woman.
Easy one. That's good. Any other nationalities that you like?
No, just white.
Just white. No black, no Asian.
No, definitely not black, no.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Got any drinks here or anything? I see some, like, coffee.
You
I
can
don't know.
have some of the coffee. I was
Got any
drinking.
Budweiser or anything?
Oh no, that's not allowed on our side
Why not?
because we're working here.
Well, I'm your guest, like, you should be, like, providing me with something, like.
You'll get it after break.
I want to know. What's this pink fucking...
We
Plate
have
over here
some
with
food
four-
coming up soon.
What, am I supposed to fucking eat this knife? Eat this fork? What the fuck is this?
I don't know.
Your
Free
name's
noodles.
Ishfack. Is this an Ish fork? What the fuck is that?
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Zach.
Oh, no, you gotta give me some Budweiser here. What are you doing?
Well, we have to get on with the show, so
I don't think so. I'm taking over this show. This is my show now.
so. Well, Zach. All right, if you want to take over the show, let's talk about something else. How's the gym going for you? Because I see you put on some size.
Yeah, I started taking these things called steroids. I don't know if you heard of them.
No. No,
Yeah,
never.
one of my buddies down in Flyfit said I joined this gym Flyfit
Yeah.
over on Georgia Street,
Mhm.
and I was in the locker one day,
Mhm.
and this guy was in the shower, and he was looking at me, and I was like, "Man, what are you looking at?" And he's like, "You want to buy some steroids?" And I was like, "Steroids? I don't know what that is." So he said, "You inject it in your ass, and you get fucking jacked as fuck." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want some of that." So he said, "Well, I can sell you a bottle for €50." And I was like, "I got about $20 in my pocket. I didn't get any money from the fucking bank yet." So he was like, "Go on down to the bank, get some money." And I was like, "Okay." I came back, bought me about 2 bottles, injected my ass on the way home, and I think I gained like about 10 pounds of muscle overnight.
Oh, nice. Well, let me know about this guy, because I
You
should
want
prob-
some?
Yeah. I
I
could
can
really
get
do
you
some.
some, man, if you
Because
want it.
I've got skinny arms, you know.
Hey, you looking okay.
No.
You
Nothing.
got one tricep bigger than the other, but
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
that
can
that
fix
one
that.
doesn't have the blood flow in it, so.
oh, you need to get one of them foam rollers. Roll that shit out.
Right. Thank you very much, Zach.
You wanna
It
buy
was
some
lovely
now?
to. Yeah, It was lovely to have you on our show.
Well, nice to meet you, sir. I'm a big fan. My dad doesn't like you much. Don't like them Pakistanis, but you know.
Hmm. Does your sister like Pakistanis?
I don't got a sister, bitch.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks anyways. See you.
Nice to meet you.
Take care. Next up, a contentious one, the rent crisis in Dublin. Here's a few people talking about their experiences.
So, are you renting in Dublin at the moment?
No, I moved back in with my parents.
Okay.
No, I'm staying at a house with some Irish people, and so I'm staying in Milton. And no, I'm not renting a house. I'm staying with people.
I don't rent. I commute to college. It is a pain. I missed my double lecture this morning because of the M7 construction on the motorway. So it is a pain commuting, but I can't afford to live up here.
I think that there's a crisis, like a renting crisis happening.
I do think there is a serious renting crisis. I've got friends that go to college that are having problems where they have to move out or whatever, but it's so hard to find another place within a reasonable price range. So I think something should be done about it. It is a big problem that's affecting a lot of people.
Are you renting in Dublin at the minute?
No, I live at home. I couldn't be affording to be renting.
Here to share his opinions on the renting matter, we have the award-winning Jack Nicholson.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Well, soaring rent prices and overcrowding are heavily affecting students. Has this impacted you or any of your friends?
Well, it's impacted many of my friends. Many of my friends are coming from outside of Dublin. The thing is that so many of the young people today, they're not staying home with their families and running the family business. They're going to college. And if you're going to go to college, most students in Ireland will come to Dublin. So there's a lot of demand for accommodation. The only problem is there's no supply. So my friend, he's very lucky that he has a place now. He has his own room in a nice neighborhood. But the only word to describe it is horror stories. People are, you've seen, I'm sure everyone has seen the pictures of rooms no bigger than this table, going for money that these students just don't have. And the thing is, the reason there's no houses and no accommodation for them is, it frankly falls on the government.
Yeah.
We have multinational companies coming from all over the world, from everywhere, and they're making these huge office blocks. You can see them just all down on the Liffey, and yet no apartments, no accommodation for students or the young people. It's graceful.
Yeah. Is there anything you think can be done for this?
It's going to take a lot of work. We have an aging nation.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say they're just sitting in homes, but there's nothing for students coming to Dublin. There needs to be like a shift to where we need to be setting aside money, not to build these huge multi-story offices for businesses that might be gone in 2 years to the next easy place. There needs to be money set aside for building affordable housing, because it's impossible to get housing for anywhere in Dublin.
True.
The rent is so high that you'll be paying it so much, you'll have no money for your first payment on a mortgage. I overheard a conversation the other day. A woman had to get 2 mortgages just for the house. One from different places. So it's just shocking, really. And it does fall on the government. It really does.
Especially with the whole Lewis A track thing and then building the roads, and they're not putting enough money into the houses.
There's just money going in to the wrong places.
Yeah.
Like we have, even the government's pay is too high in comparison to many other places, and other countries are not having this problem as much as we are. I think. I've seen it. And I think there needs to be, like, we are having marches and all. I think there should be a march for student accommodation, or even affordable accommodation for even young couples, you know, people in their 20s who are getting married and all, and there's nowhere for them to live. They're living at home.
That's very true. Yeah. So, well, anyways, thanks for being with us today, Jack.
Thank you so much, Ethan.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. Next topic, we have the art of conversation in 2018. Let's see what the public have to say about how we communicate.
Do you think that our generation uses their phone too much?
I think we use it a lot, but it's also very practical, so I think it's okay if we use it. The thing is, people must know their limits and like know if they're beginning to hurt because like they're hurting their eyes because they're using their phone too much. I think it's a matter of if people feel good using their phone and if they feel like they're hurting, and if they have problem, maybe ask like the doctor or things like that. But I think it's okay. Like we use it, but you use it for a lot of different things that usually we're done with computers or like papers or things like that. So I think it's okay.
I think that's a really tricky question because I think it's not that we use them too much. We've developed a new way to be social through them. And I get that people are complaining that there's less face-to-face interactions. But without my phone, I would be lost because my calendar automatically updates to my phone. I organize everything. My phone is my life. I don't think we use them too much. I just maybe think that we might need to put them aside every now and again and remember that we need to be social together. But no.
Way too much. Way too much, yeah. Everyone's glued onto social media constantly. It's a bit ridiculous. Like, even if you get on a bus, everybody's just glued to their phone, you know? So yeah, way too much.
Jennifer and Abigail are here to share their expert opinions. How are you doing, guys? So, do you think young people use their phones too much?
Yeah, definitely. In this day and age, more and more kids are just using their phones to like communicate with each other, which is not a bad thing. But like when they're getting together with their friends, like 9 times out of 10 when I'm with my friends, instead of us actually talking to each other, we'll be on our phone talking to friends who aren't wherever we're meeting up, or they're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, and like it's all mindless scrolling. They're just doing it because they don't really know what else to do.
People go to their phones now every single time they're bored. They sleep with their phones right next to them.
Sure.
Children are getting phones younger and younger, and this is affecting them and their development. Even they're not empathizing with other children like they used to. If you can imagine a kid says to another kid's face like something really insulting, that kid will have a reaction. They might even cry. Whereas if they just text it to them now, they just kind of get this instant gratification. They don't realize they're hurting another child.
That's very true. Are they a distraction from real life?
Yeah, because more and more people are trying to like live a life on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, whatever the kids are into. They're just trying to make it seem like they have like a great life, like they're going to like on holidays, they've after getting like the newest like designer bag or whatever. But in reality, their life might not be like that at all. So they're just trying to, I don't know if it's like trying to make other people jealous or something, but they're just trying to show that they have a great life.
Yeah, just broadcast the good bits. They're not showing that they're having hard times too.
Yeah, because no one's life's perfect or anything. So
definitely not.
And I think it's really hard. Like more and more kids are looking at celebrities and they just see the great things, but like they go through hard times as well, which is not something that they would just air on social networking. So.
Do you think the kids do this to like attract attention from others, and like, as you said, make their friends jealous? Is it mostly for attraction, or like are they trying to get popular? What do you think?
I kind of feel like most of it is just, it's the done thing now. And if other kids have phones, they want phones, and whatever social media other kids are on, they do it too. It's kind of like a follow the leader situation.
Yeah, which is it's hard on parents as well, because they'll go home to the parents being like, I want the newest iPhone, I want the newest whatever. And like, not everyone can afford it. Like those phones are so expensive, and kids just expect to get it because like someone else in their class has got it or whatever. So it's hard on the parents too, the new age of phones and social networking.
Yeah, true. Well, anyways, thanks very much, guys.
Thanks.
To wrap up the show, we have a segment on nightlife in Dublin. As students, what's hot, what's not? Well, welcome back our spicy guest, Shane Morgan. That was a banging entry indeed.
Banging.
So Shane, what did you get up to the weekend?
I never go out at the weekends. It's not student nightlife. The students go out Monday to Friday, generally.
Oh. I thought students had like discounts and stuff on like Saturday and.
Yeah, but they're a bit shy. Like the straight people go out on Saturdays, but it's not my scene at all. I go like Hanger on Monday. What's on a Tuesday? Hanger Mondays is like Workman Wednesdays. South William on a Tuesday most of the time is a buzz. Thursday's Button Factory. Yeah, they like the main nights in Dublin. But there's loads of cool like smaller club nights starting up now, like students who are like DJing and setting up their own shit. I think there's like a really cool scene happening. I just think that like one of the big issues still is that like the laws that we have in place, like all of the alcohol tax that we have is nuts. Like it's so expensive to buy drinks out, and that's like counterproductive to getting people out, and usually means that people get fucking mad turned before they even get in the door of the club, which doesn't always make for the nicest atmosphere. And as well, like most clubs can't stay open past 2 or like latest 3, which doesn't make for like the most subversive of nightlife scenes. But I think Dublin gets a lot of flack, and it's actually got a strong scene. I went to Edinburgh during the week. We went out to the nights and weeknights as well, and like it's a student city, and there was 2 clubs, and one was like the size of like my kitchen and front room, this tiny little place. Playing cool music, but it was like packed. Everyone was just out in the smoking area, and across the way there was another club playing dubstep, and like that was all that they had in Edinburgh, like literally 2 clubs. So I think there's like an interesting burgeoning scene in Dublin, and there's a lot of variety, and Irish people are a fucking laugh, so like, you know, there's always stuff going on.
What's your favourite spot to go to?
I really liked D8. They have really good DJs. It's like in this big car park, Tivoli Theatre. It's a really cool setting, but then I had like a really bad encounter with an asshole plainclothes guard who, in fairness, I have to put my hand up, he tried to frisk me and I ran, but I was actually clean for once. But he ran after me and like took me away from everyone for half an hour, and he was like calling me a bitch and like just being like super dehumanizing, and you get that a lot in D8, and that is one of my biggest bones of contention, I think, with Dublin nightlife, is like how insanely strict bouncers and shades are. He said to me that I was like the 167th person they'd randomly frisked that night. I mean, what's the point in having a club night at all if you're going to assume that everyone who's coming in is someone that you need to like go after and you know, like victimize or all just out there to be baddies? I think it's counterproductive to, because clubbing is meant to be this hedonistic release, and it's a really subversive and interesting scene, and I think it's just a beautiful, essential part of life, to, you know, like a beautiful break from the monotony of our shitty full-time jobs, you know. I think you need to protect like the sanctity of that, and I think it's just contradictory to I think victimize everyone who comes into your establishment.
And like, has this incident occurred a lot to you?
Yeah, I'm a flagrant homosexual with skinhead. That's usually like bleach blonde as well, and I tend to like dress up when I go out. So I think there's just like an exclamation point on me most of the time. I just kind of look like an NCAD head who's gonna like do cat in the bathroom and pass out on the floor, and they're like, oh, hack at him. So like I regularly get turned away, and I have a lot of friends who'd be LGBTQ people who go out and wear this mad shit and really struggle to get into places, which to me is insane, because, you know, the fags, we made nightlife, like we invented it. We gave you disco, gave you house. We're just brilliant at having fun, and I think there is a lot of stigma, and a lot of the door policies in Dublin are quite archaic and not conducive. Yeah,
I get you. Thanks a lot.
I could shut on forever.
Thanks for your
for having
time,
me,
Shane.
Eston. You're the best.
Cheers.
Right. What's on my gun?
Okay, that's all we got time for today, folks. Thank you to all of our guests, and you're watching. Hope you tune in next time.